you've mentioned that it's very important to have the quality to assess a hit in the making, to properly understand the characteristics of a certain track. How would you, when it comes to you and when it comes to your approach in terms of that, how would you describe this assessment process? Is it more of a gut feeling, or are you, basing your vision on certain aspects and characteristics on a certain checklist that needs to be followed? I'm really interested to understand your thought structure when it comes to, listening to a song and being like, all right, this can be a hit, or this will definitely be a hit, or it wouldn't, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think really it's sort of a reactive thing, because when you get when you hear it for the first time, the song, when it comes back from the mastering or mixing engineer, and you hear it and you're just like, wow, it sounds like a hit. Like, and you hear a lot of those not a lot, but you hear a lot of songs that you think, oh, this sounds radio friendly, or it could be, I could hear this on the radio. But there's a difference in that and the one that gets you and you light up and everybody gets the same reaction, like, oh my God, this is a hit, So like, you can hear it like that and you get that feeling. And usually when the whole room is right about it and everybody's show too is right, you've got a hit on your hands. And it doesn't happen very often. The other part is sometimes you just follow the audience. Like in the case of Hey There Delilah by Plain White T's, it was an acoustic song and they were a rock band and they weren't known for acoustic music. And in fact, it was the 13th track, the very last track of their album. And it had been around 2 years before it took off. But what happened is all of the kids at the concerts were requesting that song. And then after they finished their rock set and they didn't play the acoustic song, Tom from the band would go outside of the venues and bring his acoustic guitar out there and play the song for fans out in the parking lot. And they loved it. So then he kept getting those requests. And then eventually they added it into their live set and it became their biggest song. So that's more of like the reactive part where you just follow it. It's something that we could never have predicted that one. That's why it was the last song on the album. If it was a hit, we would have, put it right on the front. So there's two cases, but really those types of things don't come around very often. So, but when you have them, you really have to, seize the day, take advantage of that moment and pile it on. The other part of this is it's not me, it's not one guy, it's like a team. And a lot of the times you have to have a team that works well together and everybody's on the same page, everybody's excited and everybody's got a good vibe. If you've got a team that's dysfunctional or not agreeing on everything and everything's like butting heads and fighting the whole step of the way, it could derail the project. So I really think on those winning projects, the team worked well together and everybody like fed off of each other's hard work and good vibes. And I've been on some projects where, that kind of derailed it, So I think it does. People in the public don't understand that there is a lot of people involved, from the engineers and the musicians themselves, and the artist manager, and the manager usually has 2 or 3 people on their team, and that artist manager is out there talking to people and spreading the good news to everybody. And then you've got a label, whether it's 5, 10, 20, 30 people at the label working for you, and those people each have their contacts. And then there's promoters and booking agents, and there's all sorts of people that don't get mentioned in the process. And I think that unity and that teamwork is really important behind these successes as well.
Absolutely. And do you have like a distinctive memory of a moment when you've heard a song that would eventually become a hit and being like, okay, this song is special, this will do great things, people will love it? And do you have any specific memories about moments like that from your career?
Yeah. I mean, Lovely the Band, that the song hit #1. Same thing, like was it 2017?
Mm-hmm.
From the second I heard, I was like, this is going to be a huge hit, you know, and that was one, became a global hit, number one most played at alternative radio in 2017. I think it was number one in 10 plus countries around the world. There was a band called Breathe Carolina. They had a song called I Don't Give a Fuck, ID, whatever it is, the acronym. As soon as we heard that, we knew that was going to be a hit. And that, I don't think that hit number one, but it was like number 3 or 4 on the pop chart in America. And it sold 1 million singles. What other, I mean, the Pierce the Veil, King for a Day, it's a rock song, wasn't necessarily a radio hit, but we knew that had Kellen Quinn on it from Sleeping with Sirens. And like, as soon as we heard that song, we're like, we gotta do it right on this song, you know? So, I mean, there's yeah, I'm sure there's other, like, it's interesting. I'll give you a situation where there was an entire album that we had that feeling about. Wow. Not just one song. But this band Mayday Parade had an album they turned in called A Lesson in Romantics, and it's since gone platinum. And it's kind of like one of those albums of the year 2008 or whatever that people bring up. And song for song, that album, as soon as we heard it, was like, oh my God, there's not a bad song on the record. And all of those songs continue to do well to this day. So that was a whole album of songs that came.
You know, this is such an interesting story, because I literally talked with Derek from Mayday Parade probably a few months ago, and he explained the process of creating this album exactly like you, like that the band had the feeling that they're creating something special with every single track. So
yes,
it's really amazing to hear how, you know, a product of this sort affected so many different people in a similar way, which just, you know, proves the idea of music and just the magic behind it, I guess. So
no, there was a lot of magic, and that was a very positive project from start to finish. You know, producers, you got to give distribution credit, you know, radio promoters, all these different people. Everybody was super positive. I mean, even the retailers, like the people at the stores and Apple, and, you know, Spotify wasn't around back then, but, you know, iTunes was, or like Best Buy or Walmart, like the big stores. Like there's so many people. The vibe was positive all the way through, and we just kept driving that thing all the way up.